afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Yannis Tsitos. I'm the president and a director of a company called Goldsource Mines, Inc. We trade on TSX-V under the symbol GXS, also in the United States and in Germany. I would like to start by thanking Jay and the rest of the organizers to invite me and invite the company to present at such a great event. This is a must in your calendar. It's an amazing event. So lots of good companies presenting here. On January 23rd, 2019, we announced two holes, the first two holes of a target 1.5 kilometers outside the main deposit of Eagle Mountain in Guyana, and the whole world changed at our feet. So both holes returned significant intersection, but the one returned 69 meters at 6.5 grams per ton, and not in depth, but from 0.0 to 69.0. And this rock here is from 39 meters down. It's a typical greenstone belt, mafic volcanic. It carries 69.23 grams per ton. This is not a vein, it's a flooding of sulfides into a major system that is typical of these greenstone belts that start from Las Cristinas in Venezuela and go all the way to Mali and Burkina Faso in Africa. All right, so let's see here, this is it. So usual company disclaimer, I've got some forward-looking statements here, please pay attention. Also encourage you to go to our webpage because within 10 minutes it's very difficult to explain what we have and how we spent $21 million already discovering this body outside the main deposit after about 7 years. So I would like to say three things beyond the obvious: build and trust your team. The other three critical ingredients are persistence, 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 and then you have success in exploration. And I like the slide of the previous speaker because this market needs more discoveries. And that's why we complain sometimes why we are losing a lot of venture capital to other sectors, because in the last 10 years, not enough money have gone to true exploration, and we haven't seen the necessary discoveries. And I'm not talking only precious metals here. I'm talking copper, base metals, or even any other mineral that, I used to work when I was with BHP. So let's carry on. Goldsource Mines. All right, so we leave North America. We go now to Guyana in South America. This is a relatively small country on the map, but it's the size of United Kingdom and about 700,000 people population, primarily a green forest country with exceptional potential for greenstone gold mineralization because it is very much underexplored in comparison to the other regimes that carry the same kind of rock. Goldsource Mines is based on extensive experience by a management that has discovered, delivered projects, sold companies, and worked for majors and juniors throughout the whole space. Eagle Mountain project has no environmental or social opposition issues. Apparently, I worked 19 years for BHP Billiton, and I tell you, Guyana was coming top 3 countries in South America when it comes to risk analysis. And it was coming like that just because it never had this opposition, and more than 25% of the GDP of this country depends on the extraction of minerals and now in the future of oil, as it becomes the Qatar of South America. I encourage you to go to see Google and check ExxonMobil Guyana, and you see what they are going to do in the next 10 years, which is a bit of scary thing for us, all right? 20 times the GDP of the country is the only first deposit they discovered. So our project has excellent infrastructure in terms of being only 8 kilometers away of a town. We've got an airstrip with commercial planes coming 7 kilometers from us. And because we built a pilot plan to de-risk the project in 2016, we have built a big road so a 40-foot container or any big equipment can come directly to the project. We have our own capacity in electricity. We've got the water, of course, there because it rains so much. Most infrastructure has been built in order to initiate the development of the mine as we go. So we do have about 1 million ounces on the compliance side, as you will see, but in the process of expanding resources, and especially the saprolite, the oxide part of the resource, we had this discovery. But the vision here hasn't changed yet. Maybe in the coming presentations, we will talk about the bigger size mine. The current size mine, we thought, was always between 4,000 to 5,000 tons per day operation on a gravity CIL typical opportunity with very cheap gold from surface and low strip ratio. Okay, who we are. Maybe you know a company called Silvercrest Mines or Silvercrest Metals now, one of the best companies in terms of appreciation in the last 3 years on TSX-V from 15 cents to $4.50. That's Eric Fear, okay, number 2 person there. Eric is probably one of the best mining engineers I have met in my career, and I met a lot of them. But collectively, the whole team, I come from BHP. I was 19 years with the group. 9 years of these 19, they brought me to Canada in 1999 to start investing in junior companies as an investment manager for BHP, although I come from technical background. So I was doing what you try to do, try to find the good juniors. And the 3 elements that really everything boils down when you try to find a good junior company is, number 1 is management. Number 2 is quality asset, at least 1. Number 3 is ability to raise funds. If you find these 3 things in a junior company and they are in a safe jurisdiction, go ahead and take the gamble, because this is what we need. We need more discoveries. Right, so Eric has made a couple of mines, sold some big stories in the last 2 years here. I have discovered a couple of projects. Nick comes from, as a mining analyst of Canaccord, with an exceptional, aggressive, financial modeling attitude. We've got a small board, a guy from Wheaton Precious Metals there, and one of the best advocates on corporate governance and a major accountant and city in our board. All right, so we are about, I would say around Christmas time or early January, we were about $17 million company. Now we are about $50 million company. We tripled capitalization following this announcement and subsequent news within a space of 4 months. We do have about $7.3 million in the bank, and the budget for the next 12 months is about $4 million. And this might sound small, relatively, given the success we had, but I would like to remind you, we don't drill deep here. We drill shallow. I mean, the deepest hole is about 180 meters, and most of the gold mineralization starts from surface. So in addition to that, we carry our own teams, our own drilling teams, and we've got equipment because of the pilot plant. So when I drill with a contractor, we put now at about $75 per meter diamond core, and my own drilling costs less than $30 per meter, you understand that $4 million can take us quite a long way down, all right? So in terms of shareholders, Donald Smith is a fund that has come since the beginning. So he's get diluted a little bit in the recent years, especially this year now with the big raise. But Eric Sprott and some other institutions just came recently with this announcement. Management, unfortunately, is diluted, but in every single financing we have done since 2014, when I merged the company of Eagle Mountain with Goldsource Mines, we as management, at least one of the management participates in the financing. So we are not, we still travel economy class, we're still getting paid terribly. Don't forget I come from BHP, all right? So anyway, just because we want to put 98% of our money down in the ground where we need to do the new discoveries. All right, where we are. If you follow Guyana or British Guyana, you will know that maybe remember David Fennell and a major mine called Omai mine produced about 4 million ounces and closed down in 2006. So Omai is about 43 kilometers northeast from Eagle Mountain. It's effectively the same rock, same petrology. They are connected by the same shear zone, and you can see that in geophysics, all right? So Madia town is the town closest to us at about 3,500 population, and we control 5,000 hectares in this land. We are 200 kilometers south of the capital, Georgetown. Primarily, the population of Madia are artisanal miners, and one of the biggest problems in Guyana, like a lot of other parts, northern Brazil, Africa, and so on, especially equatorial terrains, is the use of mercury. So the government sees us and a lot of other Canadian or Australian explorers into an avenue of effectively stopping this terrible thing that's happening out there by the artisanal miners because they have access or to smuggle some mercury and pollute the ground. So it doesn't matter if you're going to go to a CIL, which is going to be in a closed pumping system. Definitely that is an exceptionally better proposal than use mercury. But Guyana is the only English-speaking country of South America with a secular democracy and a regime that after you operate 18 years like me from the bauxite industry there, you tend to know everybody from the key people, from not only the government and the mining division within the government, but also the major lawyers, the businessmen, the environmental groups. I see the Canadian ambassador or high commissioner every second trip I go to Guyana just because I want genuinely to help this country. 100% of our local people in Guyana are Guyanese. Even the British chief geologist we have has applied and became Guyanese because he loves to live there. So we are proud to say that we use the local talent and we have a team of 34 people in the country. This is the historical resource. We bought this project in 2010 from IAMGOLD. So when they discovered Rosebel in Suriname and they exited Guyana, I competed on a tender with 6 other companies from Canada and Australia, and we were the winning company. So since then, we have spent $21 million in exploration of Eagle Mountain. We've got 1 million ounces on surface. About 40% of that is in saprolite, the oxide part of the resource, starting from 0, and the other 6% in the hard rock, okay? This resource outline, as you see, comes from 2014, so we're well due, and through the expansion now, we will go into a new resource outline by the end of this year. These ounces do not include Salbora or any other expansion we have done the last 2 years in our drilling. Very important diagram, this one, just to put things in perspective and see what you will expect in the next 12 months. So we started a pre-feasibility study about a year ago. Obviously now we have put that a little bit on the pausing side, given the discovery of a triple grade than your main deposit, which comes at about 1.3 grams. So when you discover 3 and 6 grams, big hits, you cannot just develop a mine plan on 1.3 grams. So we said to Tetra Tech, let's explore, keep drilling quite a lot, do some appropriate geophysics to see how big is this target. Is this one body? Is this a multiple bodies, as you will see in geophysics? And come back before the end of the year to produce the new resource outline and develop and finish the feasibility study before the middle of 2020. So if everything goes according to plan, we have enough money to go full permitting and then towards construction financing, which we don't know at this stage where it will be. If it is going to be indeed 4,000 tons per day, we expect something around the $80 million. If, of course, this new target justifies to move to a much bigger project, we are going into above $120 million. That's a couple of maps now to show you. We control 5,000 hectares in this polygon. This dolerite shear that goes northeast connects us with the Omai mine. And you know, if some of you are geologists or have heard that from your experience, that sometimes these greenstone belt deposits, gold deposits, are structurally controlled. They are located normally in the junction of some major cross-cutting features or structures along a major shear, that is this shear carries on from the Atlantic all the way to Brazil when you see the country geophysics. So you see on the purple here the resource outline, the 1 million ounces that was the stuff that we put in the last time when we had an analysis by ACA. As you can see, the whole arc is about 6.5 kilometers wide. We drilled quite a lot now, and the biggest section of Salbora is 1.5 kilometers north west. Now, sometimes we explorers try to get too clever, all right? We apply geophysics, we do other techniques, but you know, some of the best techniques is follow the local miners, and for some reason, along this trend that goes north-south there and towards the west a little bit, about 120 to 140 degrees, there are about 8 kilometers long of artisanal historical mining. While you know, the elevation of this area is similar with some other areas of this property, you say why they are there, okay? Now we know they didn't mine alluvial gold, they mined saprolite because of the heavy rains. It looks like alluvial sometimes, but effectively it's a swamp reaching free gold, okay? So we intend to explore all the area from the Eagle Mountain main deposit out to the north. We have about 3.5 kilometers strike length, and of course we have started some BD work on the properties outside our area, and we claimed also some additional ground that I cannot show yet. Just a slide of the 6 holes that we have done to date, projected into a cross-section here. You see the one that goes the 69 meters at 6.5 grams, but within this block that's about 120 meters on surface, and about 55 meters in depth on this subvertical body. You've got 150 meters length through these 6 holes, 110 meters wide, 60 meters depth because they're inclined, open in all directions, and we've got about 232,000 ounces into that kind of block. So we have a lot of space to go. We see a lot of structuring and definitely the right ore and geology in the area. We have drilled in excess of 7,500 meters, and we just announced last week that the program for this summer only is about 5,000 more meters on Salabora. Now, we had some airborne geophysics from IAP Gold. We took it back, we reinterpreted it, and we found that Salabora is located at the junction of this major dolerite dike that you see there, which signifies a big kind of shear zone trending northeast. A zone that's about 500 meters wide but I don't know if you can see the Salabora discovery there. This is a magnetic fabric that is about 500 meters wide to 3 kilometers long, and we intend to cover all of that area with the ground IP survey. Why we do that? Just because when we see histograms between gold grade and sulfide content, we see that the higher the sulfide content, of course pyrite in this case, the higher the gold grade. So the IP is going to be the best technique because mineralization starts from surface, and we intend to cover the top 250 meters over 5 square kilometers this coming 2 months. So we believe that we are dealing not only with one body, but with rather a string of pearls, I would say, in terms of multiple subparallel zones. So hopefully in the next 3 to 4 months, we will have some good news in expanding Salabora and potentially discovering additional bodies. That's some picture. You can see the main eagle body. Every dot here is above a gram, and you see the Salabora discovered on the northwest, but we intend to cover all this area northwest of that. Okay, so when we did the feasibility study, about a minute more, we did also some metallurgical testing for the feasibility study, but we can see that we can recover with a CL about 96% of that ore. That's no surprise. Same rock, Onomai had an historical recoveries between 93 to 95%. But the most important statement here is the third bullet from the bottom. 45% of the mineralized saprolite can bypass the grind and go straight to CIL. That's significant. It's about $25 million on the capex and about $100 million per ounce on the operating cost when you go into the financial model. So we want in the next 8 months to come with increased resources, but also all the economics to show and complete this feasibility study that will show gold targeting at this stage, and please take that with a disclaimer, less than $650 per ounce operating cost. No rocket science, I don't need to go into detail here. This is a typical CIL gravity plant. And the strategy for us is, initially we thought with this project we can produce about 75,000 ounces a year, leaving about $450 to $500 per ounce profit margin. But now we see the project, the ceiling of the project has changed. we try to see if we can go much higher than that and reach about 120,000 ounces a year from 2021 onwards. Some photographs only to close. This is the trench that discovered the body, 128 meters at 2 grams on surface, sample every meter, and then the 2 diamond holes went underneath that and hit the 69 meters at 6 grams. This is our own rigs and our own teams, and this is photographs not from Google, as I say, but from our own pilot plant that doesn't operate now. It's based only on gravity. But why we did that? We did that because we wanted to test A, the geology, B, the metallurgy, C, the government, D, your own team, the ability of your own team. How can you operate within a rainy season, and how do you operate when it's a dry season in a forest? Check the local community. Do you have opposition against you? So a mining business fundamentally is very difficult. You need to take and tick a lot of boxes there in terms of risks. And before you de-risk your project and suddenly you put $200 million in a project, better do some stages before that and put some minor money to see if you have the goodies. So these tailings here hold about 6,500 ounces at about 1 gram at the moment from our 1-year operation in that 2015. That's all. That's some of our gold from gravity. Thank you very much for your time. And I know I had to say too much stuff, a little bit fast, and my apologies for going over time and took about 5 times from your lunch. My apologies for that.